Democrats, please help. People, the American people, we're starving, we're dying, we need relief. I can only give you $750. Help, 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 please. Our communities are on fire. What can you do? I can only give you $750. Help, help, help. We've been exposed to dangerous chemicals. Can you please help? We can only give you $750. Hey, Democrats, there's a war in Ukraine and in Israel, and Wall Street's going bankrupt, and so are all the banks. Quickly, make the money go. Brrrr. Money gun go. Brrrr. So there's a backlash going on. So remember that $750. I'm not going to play Kamala's full 2-minute word salad video. I only got 41 seconds of it, so shout out to Hotspot. But $750, you know what's not being addressed? Okay, they got to apply for that $750. You know how most things are done now in this day and age? With the World Wide Web, a.k.a. the internet. Ooh la la, isn't that cat fancy? Now, I wonder how many people in the current affected areas that were hit by the hurricane, such as in North Carolina, Georgia, or in the great state of Florida and anywhere else, do they have internet right now? How many of them do? Because there's a lot of rural and small towns that have been hit pretty hard, especially some inland communities too, because I got some messages from a lot of beautiful people in some of these areas that got hit. And some are saying, hey, look, man, we were like inland and this hurricane hit us. And the thing is, a lot of them are saying, the people I did speak to are saying that they're safe and their families are safe, but they know of other communities that ain't doing too well. So before we get started with the backlash, right? Here's Kamala. Democrats, your home run homer. This lady is your ace in the hole. $750 one time. That's if they get it.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, such as food, baby formula, and the like. And you can apply now for anyone who's watching this who has been affected. There are FEMA personnel who are going door to door to interact personally with folks, especially those who do not have electricity. But also that aid, if you have electricity, can be applied for online. And I encourage people to do that. FEMA will just basically verify your address, and then the process should take hold. And the federal.
And by the way, if you can't hear it, when I clip this video, I will raise up the volume. But there's a backlash. Now, I'm going to play one video, but I've been finding more videos like this all over social media. So consider this to be the canary in the coal mine. Better yet, it's not the canary in the coal mine. It's one person speaking out. But you want to know what's really frightening? There's more people like her. This is from a resident in Western North Carolina. Now, I don't know her, or I don't know a lot of people in North Carolina or in Georgia or Florida. And I don't really give a damn how they voted or how they're going to vote. But they're U.S. citizens. And it turns out she applied, and that $750 was denied. Oh, but somehow Zelensky got that billions of dollars. Somehow Netanyahu got that billions of dollars. Why is that? Why?
Hey, guys. For those that don't know, I'm at the foothills of the Western North Carolina mountains. And everybody in my area that I've talked to, including myself, who applied for the $750 assistance payment from FEMA, has been denied. Okay? Yeah. They've denied us. Okay. So here we sit. We've thrown out all of our food because we had no power for 5-6 days. Some still are without power. Here we sit. Limited resources in the store. And they have denied our $750 resource check. So, yeah. How do you like that?
So, that's madness right there. Madness and insanity. Now, I am sorry that this is happening to a lot of people. And there's a backlash growing. And of course, you better believe that people like Donald Trump are going to capitalize on it.
We're up to more than 200 people dead from Hurricane Helene. I'm sure you saw yesterday, DHS says FEMA doesn't have enough money to last hurricane season. What's your reaction to hearing that?
Well, they're doing a very bad job. They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money for North Carolina, for Georgia, for South Carolina, and Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. I think that's a disgrace. This is a country that's being run by fools.
We're up to more than 200.
Now, let's talk about it a little bit more. Feds say there's no money left to respond to hurricanes after FEMA spent $1.4 billion on migrants. Now, I did have a fear that this was going to happen, where eventually migrants were going to become vilified. Now, again, the reason why there's a border crisis is because of previous U.S. Democratic and Republican presidential administration's policies in Central and South America, the war on drugs, the prison industrial complex, so much more, okay? But right now, you better believe in everyone who's living in the affected areas, especially in North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, you name it. There are a lot of angry people because it is abundantly clear that the U.S. citizen is not even a second-class citizen. You're a third, fourth, fifth, dare I say it, maybe 10th class citizen. You are so below the totem pole, it is not even funny. But that's just how things are, unfortunately. Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, set off outrage Wednesday. And again, seriously, if you're in a position of power, maybe learn how to speak to people before, you do something, right? When he told reporters that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, does not have the funds to see Americans through the rest of this Atlantic hurricane season. After the agency spent more than $1.4 billion since the fall of 2022 to address the migrant crisis. We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have, Mayorkas said during a press gaggle, on Air Force One en route to tour damage from Hurricane Helene in South and North Carolina. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. Hey, you know what I like to say? Can it get any worse? What could possibly go wrong? We are expecting another hurricane hitting, he added. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season and what is immediate or imminent. So there you go. Critics point out the Department of Homeland Security allocated $640.9 million this year in FEMA-assisted funds to aid state and local governments coping with the influx of asylum seekers, though America's office fired back late Thursday, insisting that those funds couldn't be used for hurricane relief because Congress authorized them specifically for the migrant crisis. It's so interesting. As soon as Israel comes knocking at the door or Ukraine comes knocking at the door, money me now. Oh, here you go. Here's all the money you have. What about the American people? Empty wallet. No money. No money for us. Now I know how the Western Romans felt. Hey, there's barbarians at the gate. People are starving. What do we do? Good luck. And continue on. This is easy. Americans and FEMA need to immediately stop spending money on illegal immigration resettlement and redirect those funds to areas hit by the hurricane. Put Americans first, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Well, gee, Republicans, you guys play part of the same game too, okay? Yeah, agreed Elon Musk. Oh, hey, Elon, before you start chiming in, why don't you donate one of your billions, okay? Why don't you do that? Honey child? Abbott is a top critic of Mayorkas' mass parole asylum seekers into the U.S. after President Biden repudiated former President Donald Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, was the governor busing migrants to Democrat-led jurisdictions such as New York City, forcing local budget cuts to house them, which, again, this is also impacting Chicago, and Chicago is also dealing with this huge migrant crisis as well. But this is also a huge opportunity in which critics of Kamala Harris are coming out of the woodwork. Now, I want to say again, whoever is managing Kamala's campaign, you do realize that every time she speaks, people get disgusted and annoyed with her. Now, you should have known this, Democrats, during the first Democratic primary in 2020. because I remember when she made her announcement in late 2019 on Martin Luther King Day, when she told people that she's running and that she's going to be running as the presidential candidate to try and get the nomination in 2020. And it started off with a bang and it ended up as a fart in the wind. So you better believe that people are going to be talking about this. Let's play this video.
And they're on it. Does that satisfy your concerns?
No, Laura, not at all. And this is, first of all, my heart goes out to all of those who've seen their lives and families and homes and communities devastated by this hurricane, and my frustration and anger at the lack of adequate response, even at a baseline level, from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden reminded me exactly of what our communities there on Maui faced in the wake of that tragic and historic wildfire that took over 100 people's lives. When I went there, Laura, to Lahaina and West Maui, just a couple of days after those wildfires completely destroyed the community, I heard from community leaders and neighbors, people who were helping their neighbors, trying to put the pieces back together. They did not see a single federal official on the ground. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they said, well, FEMA's on the ground. Sure, they are in downtown in the government buildings, but not boots on ground in the communities that saw their homes and their community completely devastated by this. And I have friends there in Asheville, North Carolina, and in other communities that have been devastated by Hurricane Helene. And they are saying the exact same thing. As you heard from that sheriff, they don't have access to water. They don't have access to electricity and communication. The same thing that happened to our communities in West Maui. And yet they've said, we have not seen a single federal official on the ground, not even a FEMA, orange vest wearing person going out there and doing that assessment.
What are they doing?
It is truly.
Yeah. I don't understand this.
They are focusing on bureaucracy.
Now, let's be clear here. All right. I know what's going to happen here. This entire crisis is going to be used as an advantage by the Republicans to show voters, especially in key battleground states like Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. I mean, every single state's going to matter because it's how tight this election is going to be. It's going to be up in the air, 50-50. But you better believe that all these people have been affected by the lack of action by the Biden-Harris administration, because yes, while it is debatable if Biden is really in charge, Biden is still the president and Kamala is the VP. And their lack of action, their lack of concern is being shown. And the thing is, to many of my fellow Americans in these affected regions, I've said before, when the wildfires hit Hawaii, we are all Lahaina. And the way the Biden administration is treating all of our fellow Americans on Maui, in Lahaina, is how all of us will be treated too. There is no relief coming. Now, there are videos on social media in which there are heroic individuals who are, using, by any means necessary, by boat, by car, even by mules. Yes, mules too, to deliver food and aid to outlying communities that are effectively cut off. Now, I can only imagine the real fear of not able to get out of your neighborhood to get food or water, but the loneliness and also the despair is just unthinkable. And there are good people who are suffering, and heaven forbid if many of those residents who are currently still cut off have medical issues in which they might need medicine, or dare I say it, electricity to maybe keep a machine operative so that they could still be alive. There are many factors to play in here. And guess who's going to get the blame, Democrats? It's going to be you. And now when you have a key person who's associated with FEMA saying that there isn't enough money because if another hurricane hits, and it looks like it will, there's no money to help out the people. At what point in time, Democrats, are you going to start taking responsibility? And you better believe that Trump will be taking advantage of this. I want to pull up another video here. It's from Fox News. But notice this. They're calling this Kamala's Katrina. Biden, you're out, old dog. You're out of the fight.
Over 220 Americans dead from Hurricane Helene. Hundreds still missing and loved ones crying in agony. Cadaver dogs have joined search and rescue crews to sniff out bodies stuck under structures. One North Carolina woman lost her parents and her 7-year-old.
I was stuck there for a very long time in the water, and I was, held down by roots and trees. And in that moment, in the midst of the chaos, all I heard was God telling me to be still and to stop fighting the water.
Your son, Micah, 7 years old, from what I've been told, you're wearing one of his t-shirts. You called him a superhero.
Yes, he wanted to be Deadpool for Halloween, and in his honor, I wore it today for him. Like a man.
Tell us about Micah. And the legacy that he's going to leave on this earth.
This moment. I'm so proud of my son, because in his last moments, he wasn't screaming for me. He was screaming, Jesus, Jesus, save me. Jesus, I hear you. Jesus, I'm calling upon you. And his wildest dreams and everything that he wanted to be was a superhero. And that was his goal in life. And instead, he's my hero, because he reached for something past flesh, past human.
Now, corporate media, they're going to spin the story any which way they want, but let's be clear here. There's more kids like that suffered, and there are other people too. We have to see this as a real sign of a nation in decline. Now, no president can save it. No senator can save it. It's going to be up to us. We know what the problems are. Voting our way out of it won't save it. No. It requires action. And this kid did not have to die. If we did invest into our infrastructure, there is a possibility. Yes, you cannot withstand the full force of Mother Nature, but my God, we could have mitigated this. Think about the lack of action, and now there's a lack of money. And from that report that I read earlier, there's talk of no funds left in case another hurricane hits. There's no money left. There's no money left. And, I know there's a lot of people that have hyper opinions in regards to the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel. And I don't think I could change people's minds. But something, to all those people who are on board with the wars, don't you find it rather shocking that they can crap out the billions of dollars, but when we, the people, need it, it's not there? I said this before. The politicians, they do not like us. They don't like you. They don't think about you, and they will never think about you. And they will never, ever respect you. Remember, someday we will all die. But the one thing we need to have is our honor. Don't be a person that believes in the politician. Our honor is all that we got.
Past anything that even grown adults, I think, would reach for. My son called out to the one God Almighty. And I think at that moment he was rescued and he became my hero.
Helene's the third deadliest hurricane in American history, right behind Katrina and Sandy. If you survived, you're living without food, power, a roof over your head, and you're begging for help.
We're not getting the amount of support that we need.
We haven't seen FEMA, we haven't seen Red Cross, we haven't seen Hearts with Hands, we've seen no agencies come through here. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo, and don't stop.
How could the government do us like this, and how could the whole country just forget about us? Like, it's not enough. What is being done is not enough. I mean, there are entire communities that have been just decimated. Where is our government? I mean, for Kamala, and I am an avid supporter for her to stand in Florida today and make a statement. Where is our government?
Sources say
To those asking where your government's at, it got sold a long time ago. And for those who believe in the American dream, sorry, George Carlin, you're wrong. You don't have to be asleep to believe it. You have to be in deep coma, paralyzed, with a hospital machine breathing for you to actually believe it. It's gone. You don't have a government representing you. I mean, is it not surprising that they'll forget about you? And I don't say this to be mean. I say this to speak a true fact. Your government doesn't work for you. Do you want to know who supersedes the American voter? It's the corporate donor. The donor will supersede the voter. The voter has no seat at the table. To the people, if we do have viewing members in Tennessee or North or South Carolina or Georgia or Florida, anywhere else, check out the Twitter account Unusual Whales, and you'll find out what your fantastic U.S. Senator or U.S. House Representative is doing in regards to doing insider trading. See, when they go to Washington, D.C., they're not there to fight for you. They're there to get that money. MONEY. You are the least of their concern.
Over 1,000 troops in North Carolina are just sitting around doing nothing, waiting for orders that haven't come. They haven't heard from the North Carolina governor, and the Biden administration's blocking ongoing rescue operations.
They're in the way. They are directly interrupting our ability to conduct missions and operations. And I'm not going to disparage anybody, because we are trying to work within partner relationships, both government and non-government entities within state and federal and county. I went to put a couple of people into a hotel last night, and they have a security guard at the hotel. And they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. The entire hotel has been booked for federal employees." And I was like, no, I have people that would just pull it out of a mountain that are living out in the hills, and there's not a place for me to put them because we have federal employees that are staying in the hotel. I slept in this white car last night. I smell like foot and death right now, as does every single person on our team.
The hurricane left thousands homeless, and the federal government saying, sorry, can't stay here, no vacancy. This is like when FEMA plopped down at the Four Seasons during the Maui fires. Remember that? And Mayor Pete won't let anybody fly drones to scout for survivors. It's against regulation.
There's also some safety issues.
Yes, Pete Buttigieg. Everyone, get ready for this. This guy's in charge of transportation. So you want to know why trains are derailing? Why things are again? To be fair here, they've been falling apart before Buttigieg got in, but boy, sucks to be this guy, huh? Planes falling apart, bridges crashing down, railways not working right. Now this guy is saying, so that means if you are a certified drone operator and you have a good quality drone that could fly for good distance away and maybe, I don't know, help out like a good Samaritan should, like what people should do, like a good Samaritan, Buttigieg is telling you, don't do it. Don't help out your neighbor. Listen, folks, it's times like these in which the people have started taking initiative. So, again, I may not know anyone in any of these affected states or regions. I am sorry this is happening to you, but if you had to listen to anybody, listen to these words. Help your neighbor. Help your neighbor. They're not coming to save you. The politicians they're not going to help you. They're not going to help you. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. The only people who are going to help us is us. We are the knights on the hill to do the charge, not the politicians.
Issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job.
Tiny drones aren't getting in the way of anything. This is all hands on deck. What is Mayor Pete embarrassed that private crews are IDing survivors faster than the feds? Biden shut down the entire sky just for a look-see.
Yesterday, for President Biden's, dog and pony show to come in and see photos, he put a 30-mile TFR, which is basically a restriction in the air zone, which means that he actually stopped from 12 o'clock until 4 p.m. He stopped air traffic and helos from transferring supplies, dropping SAR teams, picking up individuals from medevacs. So that was not only irresponsible, but if you're going to come a week later, at least make sure that you're not trying to, hinder in any way further the actual operations that are being led by civilian organizations and veterans such as myself and others that are trying to do what is right. And so I found the entire response so far to be not just lacking, but irresponsible and inept.
Americans drowned while Biden was at the beach and Kamala was at California fundraisers. But they come in 5, 6, 7 days later and they say they're doing a heck of a job. Bush flew over Katrina and hit the ground 3 days later. And his presidency never recovered.
When the people of New Orleans and the Gulf Coast extended their hand for help, Help was not there. We can talk about.
And I'm Barack Obama. And when the 2008 economic collapse happened, no one was held accountable. That's why there's no money for all you poor people. And I put on a great act. And all of you shut up. Led you from 2 wars to 7. Got rid of habeas corpus. And let me be clear. Shut up and vote. Now, I'm not going to play the rest of this video. We're halfway through it, but I think you guys get the picture. You know, I gave this warning to a lot of you liberals that you guys better be ready for anything that's going to come your way in 2024. And there are people in North Carolina and in South Carolina, in Tennessee, in Georgia, in Florida, all the regions affected. Apologies if I'm missing any states, okay? My apologies on this. But these people are going to talk, these voters. And they got friends who live out of state too, and they're going to talk to them. And everyone's talking, and everyone sees it, and everybody knows about it. Your government just abandoned you again, and again, and again. We've seen this before. In Ohio, in Michigan, in Hawaii. They got the money gun for war. They'll bail out Wall Street and the banks, but you, and I don't give a damn how you vote. I don't give a damn what color your skin, what generation you're part of. I don't care. To you, my fellow Americans, you're the least of their freaking concerns. So if you're a diehard Democrat voter, diehard Republican voter, if you still want to vote for Team Red and Team Blue, bless your heart. But like any kind of abusive partner, they will abandon you. And right now, Democrats, you are in the spotlight. Democrats, you put this big game saying that you care. Doesn't look like it to me. And you better believe that Trump will capitalize on it, and he will. But this is a bigger fight. It is very clear. We are in a very abusive relationship with our politicians. But hey, at least they'll give you $750 until they deny it to you. Can you get internet? Probably not. Not right now. Can you get that money? The answer is no. Because you're not worth the politicians' time. But Kamala and Biden, they got nothing for you.